make us believe.
Sorry about that singing.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the Shipsgonnahappen podcast. It's Saturday, January 15th. My name is Tony B. In the studio is David B. and Timmy D in the Dragon Dome. Our views are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses any transportation provider. It's just three guys with 70 years experience discussing transportainment. That's right. Boom. Transportainment news and topics that affect the industry that brings us the products straight to our docks and doors. We do it for the transportainment side of things. You can catch us on our home base, Shipsgonnahappen.com, Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, iTunes, and all of our shows are on SoundCloud.com too. Today's topics, we have a great driver with us who owns his own business. His name is Maurice Bey. You can catch him on the Helpful Trucker on his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of visitors, and we're happy to have him here. David B., happy Saturday morning to you.
Good morning, producer Tony and Timmy D. Happy New Year to the both of you, and we're glad to have Maurice with us today. It's going to be a good show. Today's show brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go for food and beverages and some music on a Friday night. Chasey and I were there last night. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but it was a darn good meal after a week that we've had, and some good music, and got to catch it up with the locals. So Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Timmy D, how are you today, my friend?
What's going on, fellas? I tell you what, being a new year, this is exciting. We got the Helpful Trucker on the line with us, and can't wait for the folks to get to know who he is. If you guys have not checked him out, you definitely need to do that. Very entertaining videos, informative videos on top of that. So
check him out.
Good Happy New Year, you guys. It's good to be back. We've had some time off, and and it's a damn snowy gosh damn morning.
It is.
You know, and it's not crazy snow like we could see, but it's just.
If this is the worst of the snow for the year, this is going to be a good year.
It'll be not too bad.
That's a good wish. That's a good wish.
Right.
So Maurice is on the horn. Maurice, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir. I am here to all three of you. I appreciate you guys having me on. I was listening at y'all talk about me a few seconds ago, and I'm like, who the hell are they talking about?
The one, the only, Maurice Bey.
I'm going to tell you what, Maurice, good morning and Happy New Year to you. When over the holiday season, I started watching a lot of trucker videos, and like I mentioned to you in our email, this is a little bit of a fledgling podcast to us. We're kind of new, even though we got a year under our belt, we're still pretty new. And the moment I hit up on your videos, you're extremely informative, you're very articulate, and you know exactly what you're talking about, and you're well read, and it's just your videos are so informative. And I immediately text these guys, and I'm like, we got to get this guy on. I mean, it's just so good. And again, can you give us a little bit of background on how you got started in trucking? I know watching your videos, your dad was a trucker, and how big of an influence was he for you to get going?
Yeah. So I've been driving now for 6 years. April this year will be 6 years. I was always in sales. I'm not gonna say I was always in sales, but I was in the sales business. I sold Kirby vacuums. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Kirby vacuums before.
Yep. Are you trying to sell us now?
Yeah, I sold Kirby. I sold door to door $2,000 vacuum cleaners for 15 years.
Man,
right?
That's a hard sell, right?
15 years.
That's what made me an animal right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's what that.
So, but yeah, I got a divorce from my first wife and got out of that business and had to get restructured for a while. When I got a divorce from my first wife, our two children went with me. So once I got out of sales, I kind of was like a nomad for a while, just kind of get myself back in order. And like I said, it was just me and my children. And then I got a driving job up the street from my house. And this is at a time in my life that I'm really just kind of restructuring, essentially, about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. So I get a driving job, just driving a straight truck, just driving a 26-foot flatbed, non-CDL.
To educate some people, a straight truck would be like a U-Haul, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Would you describe a straight truck pretty similar to a U-Haul that you and I could go rent as a regular private citizen?
Yep. All right.
Yep, very similar to a U-Haul. It was just a flatbed, you know what I mean? It was just a flat deck on the back instead of a box on the back. But it was a non-CDL truck, and I did that for a few years. That was just a basic, maybe $500 a week job, something like that. So, I'm working there. That's up the street from me. My dad is an owner-operator at this point, basically all of my adult life. He's always been a truck driver. He comes in and out of the place that I drive the short truck for.
Oh, wow.
And he just comes to me one day and he's like, listen, man, my health is, getting bad and I'm going to have to look to put somebody else in my truck. So it would be good if you can go ahead and get your CDL. So I went to school and got my CDL, went to Shipper's Choice down in Chester, Virginia, on the weekends while I was working. All right. And, again, I'm single parent at this time as well. So the day I graduate and get my CDL and pass my CDL test, I go to work the next day for the company that is up the street from me. And they call all the drivers in the office. They had one short truck driver, which was me, and all the other drivers, maybe about 10 or 12 other drivers, they were all semi-truck drivers, big truck drivers, with CDLs. So the next day after I got past my CDL test, I go to work. The manager of the place calls everybody in. Nobody knows what we're getting called in for. And turns out they lost their authority.
Wow.
They couldn't do anything. They lost their authority the previous day. So he tells me, the manager, he's like, well, the problem that we're having has to do with semi trucks. Don't have nothing to do with the short truck. So, we got to take time to get all of this stuff straight. We can't run no trucks. But you don't need to do anything. You know what I mean? So, you can't help us fix the problem because it's not dealing with your truck. So I let him know. I said, well, I got my CDL yesterday and my dad wanted me to do it and he got some work for me. So they was like, hey, you can go ahead and start working with him and we'll call you back once we get all of this stuff straight. So they actually kept me on the payroll for about another month, even after I started working with my dad, going in the same place, but as an independent under my dad. So rolled with him for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, something like that. And then started driving the truck on my own. And that was 6 years ago. And I drove for him for 5 years. And then this past year, I bought my own truck. I bought the same truck from him that I was driving already.
Wow.
And April will be my first year as an owner-operator. So that's kind of a little bit of my backstory on how I got started.
Well, congratulations on coming up on your year one or whatever. So do you have plans on expanding your fleet? I know you still got to get year one under your belt, but do you have any plans on buying any more trucks?
Yeah, no. If I understood you correctly, you asked me, did I have plans on expanding my fleet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay, yep. That makes sense.
I saw in one of the videos where you had bought an extra truck.
Yeah. I just sold it.
Oh, you sold it? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Two quick questions.
I just sold it.
So is your dad's health okay now?
No, it hasn't gotten any better.
Okay.
No, my dad is not driving anymore now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, he's still, his mind is still going. He's still preoccupied with trucks. He still has a truck out on the road that somebody else drives. So he's at home, keeping things together. So, but he doesn't drive. He doesn't drive.
And so, Maurice, you're just an interstate driver, correct? For the interstate of Virginia?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
You just drive in the state of Virginia? You're just an interstate driver, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I just drive in the state of Virginia, just intra-state. That's what I've been doing ever since I was driving under my dad.
So does that have to do with you wanting to be home for your children while you're still making a healthy living, or is that just a decision personally?
It's mostly wanting to be home with my family.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, it's mostly wanting to be home with my family, man.
Are you still contracting through that company?
Say it again.
Are you still contracting through that company then to get your runs?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Are you contracting through that same company to do your runs, or are you doing it independently through your own contracts?
Yeah, well, over the years, if I understand you guys correctly, when I first started driving my dad's truck, my dad had the truck on a certain kind of work, and over the years, it's changed work a few times. So the most recent job that he put the truck on was hauling wood chips, basically, and that was August 2019 when he put the truck on that job. And then I bought the truck April 2020 and kept it on the same job. basically, which is still the wood chips. So the last job that he put the truck on was wood chips for a local broker here in town, runs a lot of trucks through here, and that's who I'm still getting my work from right now.
Nice. So are you making some good money nowadays? Rates are up and it's crazy. Are you doing well with doing these runs?
Yeah, if it sounds like you're asking me about the money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm making a lot more money, obviously, than I was working for my dad, right? And the way, with running wood chips, I normally see about $2.50 per mile, even though we don't get paid. Say it again?
Profit?
Tim's saying, is that profit or is that just
No, that's gross. That's gross mileage. That's gross mileage right there.
So intrastate, you're making $2.50 a mile total. That's it. That's all that's there.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. That's what I was about to get into, because I don't actually get paid by the mile. With wood chips, we get paid by the load. We get paid by the weight. So it's a bunch of ways to switch that up, $2 a mile. So let me just kind of give it to you in simple terms, right? So if I'm going, there's a couple ways you can do it. One way is if I'm going 100 miles away, we'll just say if I'm going 100 miles away to grab up a load, I'm going to go empty 100 miles out, and I'm going to grab that load and I'm going to bring it back to where I'm coming to. That type of a run will be about $2 a mile. But there's so much, there's a lot of wood chip work around here. So sometimes what I'll do, if I can work it out, is I will go out loaded. If it depending on where I'm going out, if I go out loaded and I come back loaded, then it's going to be closer to about $4.50 a mile. Wow. And it also depends on, so like, how can I put it? So if I go out, I can go out 100 miles and come back 100 miles. Mm-hmm. But like next week, what I'm going to start doing something a little bit different next week. I'm going to be going. I'm trying to explain it to you in the simplest terms.
We appreciate that.
I'm going to be loaded all miles starting next week, and I'm going to be kind of like going out in a circle. It's not going to be a circle, but I'm gonna leave from out of here where I live at, loaded, head out about 45 miles, drop there, and then I'm also going to be picking up from there and taking it somewhere else. So like, and we're able to do that with running the wood chips because there's a lot of different places around here that run. So I guess kind of what I'm saying is there is the flexibility to kind of do it how you want to do it. If you're just going out empty and coming back loaded, you're going to be more at about $2 a mile. But if you're going out loaded and coming back, if you're always loaded, then, that's going to increase a whole lot. Plus being that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you, Maurice, do you think maybe that has something to do with the rates being up is because of trying to match up to come out loaded and come back loaded versus just going all the way out, pick up and come back loaded? Do you think the rates
Say that one more ask that question one more time?
Tony B asked for me. You know what I'm asking, right?
Yeah. He's saying, are you matching up those loads? Is that how you're able to, that's why the rates are up in the industry for that?
Because you can't match them up.
Because you can't match them up? Probably didn't ask that right way. Ask him again.
Yeah, I'm not really understanding that. How you asking? I'm not.
So what I'm saying is, so you're saying if you got to go out empty 100 miles and you return back with a full load, that rate's going to run about $2.50 a mile. What I'm saying is that rate $2.50, but if you were able to match them up, you could give them a discount back down to $2 a mile, and now you're making $4 for the round trip, if that makes sense. $2 out, $2 back full. Is the rate $2.50?
Yeah.
Is it spiked because it's tough to match up to what people want and what's out there for you to haul?
Exactly. But it's not always difficult to match them up like that. It's really not. It just kind of depends. Like I said, there's a lot of places around here that take these wood chips, that we run these wood chips for. West Rock is the main place that we go in and out of. But there's a lot of little chip mills and log yards and stuff that we drop off and pick up to, and really, I've only been on wood chips now for a year and a half. So what I'm finding out right now, currently, as we speak, that obviously the more knowledge a driver has of the places that are running, the places that are taking chips or sending chips out, the more knowledge a driver has of that, the more you can coordinate a day to get a higher rate per mile, essentially. But you just kind of got to be ahead of the game on knowing what's running and what's not running, and that's just a matter of just staying in communication with the broker, with the dispatcher over there, essentially. So you'll know at all times, okay, this place is running, this place is not running. I can go here and drop off, then I can pick up right down the street and take it back. That'll get me back to West Point where I live at. So, and then also we don't have to run ELD. We're not running any type of login. So,
wow.
we're not running any type of
login.
ELD
for our folks out there listening is electronic driver's log is what he's talking about, that we've discussed many of times on this show, and how possibly that's kind of hurt the industry because of the honesty you've got to have.
So you're listening.
I didn't see that. If you were talking to me, I didn't understand.
No,
what
we
you
were
said.
just explaining the ELD logs. So again, you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen show. Good Saturday morning to everybody. Maurice, tell us about the success of your YouTube channel. That's got to be huge for you. I mean, you've got near 45,000 subscribers. That's got to be. I mean, you've got to be delighted with those success, the way that things were going.
Some videos over 500,000 views.
And what made you start your own YouTube channel, to parlay into what David asked?
Yeah, starting the YouTube channel was really like, I've always kind of just been into stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's the best way I can answer that. Like when I was younger, I was a part of a music group, as a lot of people probably were, right? So, when YouTube kind of came along, it kind of scratched a very similar itch. I just like creating stuff, so when I first got started on YouTube, I was just creating just general talking, mindset, that type of stuff, just general, just horse stuff, actually. I wanted to say horse shit, but
So Maurice, if you can hear me, and maybe Tony B may have to repeat me because we're having some difficulty on the Ship's Gonna Happen show this morning because it's been a while since we've been in the studio. But my question is, why the helpful trucker? Why are you trying to be the helpful trucker? It's a great tagline, and you do a fantastic job explaining to newer drivers and of what things are going on and why a cab this way, why the DOT is this way. Why the helpful trucker? Why?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't really have an answer for that. Like I don't really know how to do stuff any other way. Like I don't even know how to answer that.
Why do you feel it is your obligation to help other CDL people out there? Is it because the trucking industry has been so good to you and your family and your upbringing? I mean, why do it? Why put yourself out there?
Yeah, my only answer for that is I feel that information sharing is lacking in trucking. I definitely see that. And if there's anything that I would say, why do I feel obligated to be helpful? It's really to satisfy that need. Like as I've been coming up through the trucking industry, there's a lot of questions that an individual has. Like you can find yourself spending money on stuff. I know a guy that's spending money
you've run into these, is what you're saying. These are inferences that where you have run into these same issues, and you're like, why can't I find an answer to this? And now your objective is to provide that knowledge to younger drivers in the industry. Does that sound right?
Exactly. And that's strictly based on only my experience, because there's a lot of experiences in trucking that the majority of newer drivers may have and come across that I don't know anything about. Stuff like working for a mega carrier, stuff like going OTR. Like I can't really get into that stuff because I've never done it before. So yeah, I don't have a problem. I kind of feel obligated to share my experiences that I've gone through, because I know that just the same way that I have a hard time finding answers to certain things. And I got the benefit of having a network. I got a father that drives a truck. I got a brother that drives a truck. I got uncles that drive truck, cousins that drive truck, people that fix trucks. Like I got a hell of a network. But a lot of the newer guys that are coming into this profession don't have that network. And if you don't have that, man, there's going to be all kind of questions that you have that you're going to have a hard time finding an answer for.
Well,
so, yeah, for that reason, I feel obligated to share my personal.
And you do a damn good job.
Somebody else that will benefit from it.
And I noticed that, like you're saying, the knowledge sharing. So, like, the CDL school and getting your CDL, you got a lot. That might be one of your biggest viewing audiences on that, and then your 21 tips, right? I mean, those were some big shows for you. So do you get a lot of feedback from people watching those shows that are wanting to get into trucking new, or is it just kind of a community of sharing information on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, no, I get a lot of feedback, from individuals, positive feedback, and some people are never satisfied.
Oh,
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, I get an overwhelmingly majority of positive feedback.
21 things
from
brand
my
new
videos.
truck drivers is 239,000 views.
It's on YouTube from the Helpful Trucker out there. You're listening to Ship's Gonna Happen show. Maurice Bey joining us. He's killing it out there.
He's doing a great job.
Killing it.
So, Maurice, one of the things, watching one of your videos, I think the best line that you had is like when somebody's wanting to get into trucking, for people to kind of understand what they're getting into and then make sure that is something that you really want to do. That right there, when you said that in the video, I'm like, that's just golden. I mean, that bit of advice right there goes a long, long way. Do you get?
Yep.
Yeah,
you were breaking up again. I'm so sorry.
Fine.
I'm having a hard time
That's all
understanding.
good.
He's in Virginia, and we're in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. And
Right.
I tell you right now, we don't
We're in
have that thing called
cornfields.
5G.
Right.
And we're not on that T-Mobile or anything. I'm just telling you folks out there.
So, Maurice, what do you have? Do you see yourself staying in this industry for a little while longer, or do you have other plans?
Where do I see myself in? What was that?
Yeah, you gonna continue this career? Are you looking to do other things, or are you just happy with doing what you're doing and it's working for you, and you're gonna stay in the trucking industry?
I enjoy doing trucking the way that I'm doing it right now. I see myself staying in trucking at least for the next 9 years. My plan overall is to pretty much, I kind of enjoy what I'm doing right now. And I want to share a little bit about why I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now. I do want to speak on that. But, like the overall, the plan is to continue doing what I'm doing now and to be smart with the money that I bring in. I'm one of those guys that I personally believe that success in trucking doesn't necessarily come from what you gross. I mean, you want to gross as much as you can, but to me, it's not really about what you're earning or necessarily what you're bringing home. To me, success in trucking is more about living below your means, because only then can you earn, save, and invest. In my opinion, it don't matter how much. Like, you don't care if you make it $500,000 a year. If you're living in a way that you're spending all of that, you're no better than the company driver or the guy that's only doing, $50,000 a year and
can you
spending
come raise
all of
my
that.
children?
So to me,
can I send my kid? Can I send my kids out to you just for a couple months so you can teach them exactly what you just said? That is so well spoken.
Maurice Bey's boot camp.
The healthy trucker should turn into how to live your freaking life.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he just said.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, I don't need to spend, if I'm making, and I'm just going to use easy numbers, like you said, I'm making $50,000 a year. I'm only spending 30 of it. That is what the kids today don't understand.
Yeah, that is right.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, So
You agree with I can send my kids out to you to raise them for a couple months? Is that what I'm hearing?
Say it again.
He's wanting to know if he can send his kids out to you for you to raise them for a couple months.
Is that a yes?
I don't know about that one. You can definitely turn them on to my YouTube channel, though.
No, they've already watched your YouTube channel, just so we're on the same page.
So Maurice, I owned my own company for a while, and I know that when you have things can be going good, and then all of a sudden, if you have a van breakdown or something like that, do you do your own repairs, or do you have connections to help you with that?
Yeah, I have connections to help me with that. Minor repairs I'll do. And when I say minor, I mean very minor. Like I just got
diesel
through,
fuel
I
needs to
just
be
got
added
back to
so
the
you
house
can
a
keep
few minutes
going?
ago from dropping my, say it again?
And minor as in like you just need to add diesel fuel so you can keep rolling, or you
Yeah, well, no. Well, look, watch this. Let me tell you this right here. I just got back to the house from dropping my truck off down the street to a guy that's going to work on it on a Saturday today. And all he's doing is switching out my bumper.
Okay.
I didn't want to do that. I'm like, and it ain't but 8 bolts, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like doing that, man. When I work on that truck, I feel like I got into a fight afterwards sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
You have extra parts left
So
over
I
when you're
will
done,
go under the
Maurice.
hood. I will work on the truck, man. But, I would much rather not to. I'm one of those guys I will gladly, like my brother's an owner operator for 30 years. He does not like to take his truck to a shop at all. I got a good mechanic that I deal with, a couple of them, so I trust them. But, I would much rather take my truck.
How bad
to
is
them.
DOT nowadays? How bad can they hit you up and just go through you like a fine comb and just smoke your DOT points? How bad is that? Do you feel?
Say that one more time. You're asking about DOT. Say that one more time.
The DOT inspections and stuff. How bad are they on drivers today with that?
You
I
can be
haven't
honest
had
on the
any-
Ship's Gonna Happen show. We like it all.
There's nobody listening anyways. I'm
No,
kidding.
it's fine.
I'm
It's
kidding.
cool. I haven't had any too many
Thousands.
negative experiences with the DOT. I was talking to a guy the other day that told me in like the last 5 years he's only got messed with by the DOT like once or twice, and I found that to be amazing because in the last year I probably had 4 level 1s. But they were all all of the DOT officers were cool. That I got.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on, Maurice. Just give me a second. Do you boys know what level 1 is?
I do not.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sir.
A level 1 is the most intense.
Yeah,
DOT.
it's a fine comb. It's like you're going through the truck driving championships. Do you have a cracked
Yep.
mirror? Let's walk around this
Yeah.
together. Let's look at your brake lines. Let's make sure the tires are
They wanna do
pressurized the
everything.
right
They want
way.
to check your fluid in
It's
your
crazy.
in your windshield washer fluid. They want to do everything.
Hey, do they put on the hat when they get out of the car though? And that's when you know you're in trouble.
No, when they put on the gloves.
Because they're gonna inspection.
When they put on the gloves, and then you don't even see them put any Vaseline on their
Oh man, yeah.
The healthy trucker, Maurice
There it
Bey with the
is.
healthy
Hell
trucker on
yeah.
YouTube coming through and just
That
telling
is
you how it
awesome.
is.
So, do you think they do that because someone's new, Maurice, or do you just think they?
I think it's a variety of reasons. I got a friend up in the Maryland area, Baltimore, Maryland area, just got started with his own authority with a box truck. He's been driving a box truck for a guy for several years now, up and down the East Coast. He don't have any problems with the DOT. He just got his own authority, and he says right now, he said the other day he got stopped like on both sides. He got stopped on the east, on one direction when he was going into the place, and then he was leaving the city. They pulled him again on the other side, and he's like, I just got pulled on the other side. He thinks it's because he has a new authority. That's what he believes it is.
So you think they're running that?
Sure though, man.
He thinks that they're running his DOT tag on the side of his box truck and then saying, all right, I'm going to inspect this dude?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's what's happening or not. He believes that is what's going on. That is what's going on with it, right? So like he's new, and he feels like when he's new, they're gonna pick on him. I've heard people say that before. Like when you're new, when you just got a new authority, they're gonna pick on you a little bit.
Do you think it's a
Like I said,
coincidence, though? Do you think maybe they don't come, like when the officer stops them, they don't have the confidence behind them to literally have the, you know when you talk to a cop, like if you have the confidence that you're good, the cop's probably gonna be like, all right, he knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing. Do you think it has something to do with the confidence? It's kind of like nervousness.
Nah, I don't.
Okay.
I think most of my run-ins with the DOT, they got it in their mind that you're gonna get a level 1 before they ever lay eyes on you.
No,
That's what
I agree
would
with
say.
that. I think
Before they ever look at you,
they're
so it's
out
like,
there.
okay, they already know.
Correct. I think they're out there where they are told today you will have 6 level 1s and 2 level 2s or level 3s, right? And I think that
And
they
it
just
may
have
not, and
marching
it may
orders.
not be a thing where they go like that. Like they may be doing all level 1s this week, and then next week they may be doing all light checks. You know, I'm not 100% sure how it goes either way. I can say, like I said, I've never had any extremely negative stories about the DOT. I did get stopped one time, you know, overweight and across the North Carolina border, because one of the places that I go to is right on the North Carolina border. They did pop me that day for a ticket for $1,750, but the officer was cool. Overweight. He wasn't a jerk about it though.
So hold on. So they taxed you for $1,750 for being overweight.
Yeah,
but they said
that's
carry
how much
on.
The ticket was.
Healthy trucker Maurice Bey, you may continue this overweight load as far as you want to go, but it's going to. Moving forward now, it's going to cost you $1,750. Is that what they told you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, does that make sense? The whole point of the damn ticket is to correct the behavior.
Right.
Right? The whole point of the inspection is to correct the behavior, and their correction of the behavior is just pay us and you can move it as heavy as you want. That's what they're telling you. Right. That doesn't make any sense.
I couldn't understand you again. I'm so sorry.
You're not the only one.
One of you guys that's closer to the phone that I can understand better.
Oh, we're all in kind of the same area. So you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen show with Maurice Bey, the Helpful Trucker. Thanks for coming on again this morning, Maurice. What advice would you give to prospective new drivers?
What I just said about trying to figure, like, to me, the main thing is putting yourself in a position when you come in this industry that you can save money. I think that's the biggest thing, because there's a lot of things that's going to change in this industry. There's a lot of things that a lot of us don't know about, you know. But I would say all the while, what you need to be doing is putting yourself in a position, and I talk about this a lot on my videos, where you have more choices. You want to put yourself in a position where you can exit out of trucking how and when you want to, and that all comes from how you're going to be living. You know, when you're just coming into this industry, if you're chasing. When you just come into this industry, if you're chasing the money like many people are, and you're not paying attention to holding on to that money, and then 5 or 7 years after you're in the industry, or 8 or 9 or 10 years after you're in the industry, you start, you get tired of doing it. You start to get complacent. Maybe your health changes some. Maybe there's reasons why you need to be home more for whatever reason. And if you haven't been doing what you need to do with your money, when you come to that point, you won't have the choice. That's like you're a slave to the truck at that point. And that's what I would say. I would say, that's my advice to a new person. You want to put yourself from day one. You want to be thinking about, like, I want to get to the point that I can choose to drive the truck or not. I can make choices. That's why we came to trucking. We came to trucking to get freedom. But you're not getting free if you're not doing the right things with your money.
I think that's for everyone in every job position they're ever in. I tell you what, Maurice Bey, you just need to give life lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, you're that good.
Yeah.
You're that good.
Have you ever thought about something like that, Maurice? Have you ever thought about just doing videos on life lessons and being helpful with not just trucking, but with other aspects of life?
I have. I feel like nobody would want to, when nobody wants to hear. I'm glad you asked that. That's how I feel. I'm like, nobody want to hear that.
You got enough viewers, I think you could parlay into it.
I'll tell you what, Maurice, watching your videos, one of the things that pops into my head is that if you started a church and wanted to be a pastor on Sundays, I'd sit in the front pew, just saying. I'd show up every Sunday and sit in the front row.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate that.
So
I guess I need to consider that.
So how big is your family, Maurice?
I have 2. It's a weird question. I'm on my second marriage now.
Okay.
And I have 3 children. I actually have 4 children, but my oldest son passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
So my oldest would be 22 right now, 21 right now. My second oldest, which is actually my oldest right now, my daughter, she's 19. And then when I got remarried, my new wife, my young, lovely, beautiful wife right now, we have a 12-year-old that she already had when we got together. And we had a child together. So we have a 5-year-old.
Wow.
As well.
Congratulations.
So let me ask you this, Maurice, because I'm a new father. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm a new father. And I'm kind of like you. I've got 2 other children from her prior marriage that are basically, driving age teenagers, and then we just had a baby a half year ago. You guys might call it 6 months, but he's really a half year old. Thank you, sir. And they're all boys. You have a 19-year-old daughter. How do you do it? I gotta ask. I don't know if I had a daughter. David B's got David B's got all girls.
3 daughters.
Yeah, he's got 3 of them. I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, how do you do it?
Patience and ammunition, right, Maurice? Is that what you would say, or?
Are you asking me how I do it with girls? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Yes.
Man, girls are weird.
You hear a big sigh. He's like,
Well,
how do I answer this?
They can be a lot easier in a lot of ways. I got a girl and a boy, right? So sometimes a girl can be easier. And sometimes when they start to get their independence at 14, 15, they can start to be, they're not so much daddy's little girl no more, right?
Yeah. I went through that phase with my 19-year-old right now. I did go through a phase where, she things got a little bit out of hand, but, like I said, girls are weird. They're a little bit different than boys. I can say this, the year that when my oldest son passed away, at that point, it was just me, my daughter, my oldest daughter at that point, my wife now, but she was my fiance at that point. It was her and it was her daughter. So when my son passed away, it was in this house, it was my fiance, my oldest daughter, and the daughter that my wife already had. It went from 2 males in the house mixed in with the females to me and 3 females. Man, let me tell you something. That felt like an extremely lonely time. I'm so serious. And I can only trace it back to there was less testosterone in the house. I thought about getting a dog and everything. Man,
I thought about getting a dog. That's funny. You're getting a male dog, right?
You're listening to Ship's Gonna Happen show, and we got Maurice Bey that is... I tell you what, boys, I could talk to him
The Helpful
all
Trucker.
day, every day. The Helpful Trucker
Definitely.
on YouTube. The dude's videos are they're amazing, in my opinion. I think they're fantastic. They're entertaining.
Yes.
They're short. And you get a little insight on what to do. And Maurice is, as he just told us, he's a newer driver that's out there, kind of a newer. He's grown up in the industry, but newer. And he's just telling you guys things on his YouTube channel, The Healthy Trucker, that he just, these are things I run into that I'm sure I'm not the only one that's ever had questions. He's privy to having his father and cousins and uncles and things that he said he could rely on to reach out and have answers. So as a newer trucker driver out there, check out The Healthy Trucker on YouTube.com. The Healthy Trucker, he's out there, Maurice Bey. He's fantastic. He knows his crap. And the only reason he's doing these videos, like he said, not for his interests. He's doing this for the interests of the industry, which I think is huge. And I do nothing but appreciate Maurice Bey, and I appreciate you joining us this morning. I think, I can sit here and talk to you for hours. Like, seriously, we need to have a follow-up with you and go back into kind of learning more about you. I appreciate you joining. David B., thanks for setting that up.
Yeah.
And Maurice, we do something on this show. I don't know if you've listened to it at all on SoundCloud.com or maybe through our website or Rumble or wherever we're at. A bunch of different ones out there. But we do this thing called a random segment. It's David B's random thoughts. And would you be interested in joining us for that if we could let Tony B dial up the music and you kind of hit us with your random thoughts, or David B will provide the random thoughts and you got to answer. Are you good with that?
I can't do it with the.
I help you all I can. I have no clue what I'm saying okay to, but let's do it.
All right. So,
Well, first of all, go ahead. Well, first of
I
all,
love him, man. He's like, I'm in. Let's go.
First of all, we should probably introduce him into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, we
right?
should.
So
We'll
Maurice,
send him a shirt.
Maurice Bey,
Yeah.
we have on our show, we have a segment. We have Hall of Famers, HAUL of Famers. And we'd like to take the time to induct you into our Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame. Welcome, sir.
Anybody that can,
Cue up the music right now.
anybody that can,
He's awesome, dude.
anybody that can do what you've done and relatively in a quick time get to where you're at, it's pretty admirable. And thank you for that. And yeah,
Welcome to
Trucking
the
Hall of Fame.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Maurice.
Yeah. So
100%. I appreciate it.
yeah.
So the random thought for today, Maurice, is it's kind of, these are just thoughts off of our head. If you had the chance to grow up in a different era or the same era and do it again, is there a certain time frame that you would like to grow up in life, or were you happy with the time frame that you're growing up in right now?
Yeah, I can't think of a better right now. I mean, I can't think of a better time. It's crazy now. But I can't think of a better time to grow up in than right now.
Makes sense. I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, the tools that we got access to nowadays, man. The internet, the freaking internet. Oh my God.
Yeah. Is that a good thing? Really? That's a good question. Is Timmy D just poised it? Is that sometimes, is all this needing to be tied to something 24 hours a day a good thing? But I like your answer. It's a great answer. Right now might be the best time. Producer Tony, what about you, buddy?
Probably, let's see. I mean, if you go back in time, there's a lot of civil unrest, right? And certain things going on. So it'd be difficult to have to deal with that.
Like the 70s.
Well, the 70s and 80s wouldn't be bad where I grew up. So, I think Maurice is right. I think the time now, even though it's weird, it's odd, it's some weird things going on. But I think that more knowledge is shared today than there's ever been, right? And then you got a guy like Maurice and us as well on our show that can start a show and do a show. 10 years ago, you couldn't do that.
Right.
So you had to have licensing
100%.
from the FCC. And when I did radio and TV back in the day, I had to have a broadcaster's license. And it would cost, $100 back then. That was a lot of money for someone trying to get into it, right? So even if you worked at a radio show or a TV show, you had to get a broadcast license through the FCC, and they had to prove you, get a background. They don't do that anymore. So it's made it easier. I think Maurice is right. I think the best time might be now.
Timmy D, do you have thoughts on that?
I've got two answers to this. I would love to see what 2090 brings us.
2090, yeah.
Right? Think about that. Think about that. 60 years from now.
Yeah.
60 years from now. Now,
Tim will be 40.
Correct. With that, think 60 years ago.
Yeah.
That's 1960s.
Yeah.
Okay, look where we've come from 1960s to 2022.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So, I am intrigued about 2090.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever see 2100.
Right.
I wish I would. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
could see 29. Could.
Not with my family generally.
Okay.
But,
All right.
but yes, correct. 2090 is there. But I would tell you, so I'm a 90s baby. Everyone says I'm an 80s baby. I was born in the 80s. I'm not an 80s baby. I grew up in the 90s, realistically. We start remembering things and things you went through. I love the 90s. I tell you what, you think about the 90s, music came full round,
Yeah.
right? Realistically, you basically had alternative and rap that came on the map, in my opinion. You had some, you can run back to Tupac and things back
Yeah.
to the late 80s. But what I'm saying is you really had music came evolution. And I'm not a music guy. David B knows this 100%. I don't even know music, but I love listening to it.
I beat him last week.
And
by the way.
no.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll keep you
I
going.
smoked him.
Oh, we're gonna have that off air.
yeah.
There's no way
No,
David B got
No,
beat.
we got to do it
yeah.
on. We got to do it on air.
All right, we'll do
save
it on
for
next
the-
show. All right,
yeah.
so, but the 90s I think was fantastic. There's a lot of things going on. We had a war to start it out with, and I include September 11th into that 90s type era. So you had the biggest tragedy in American history, and you had all this other stuff going on within all that, the 96 bombings. You can go through everything. I just think that the 90s was less information, in my opinion, was better. You had to go find your information versus it being shoved down your throat.
Right.
Cell phones started happening, the pagers, the beepers, so where I grew up, the beepers.
Beeper, Depot.
The beepers, the pagers, the cell phones, all kind of. The 90s was a pretty big. I guarantee you, in 20 years from now, you're going to look back and the 90s is kind of like what they call it, the industrial revolution.
It could be a transitional
That
period.
90s is going to be a big era that everyone overlooks.
Exploded. Yeah.
I agree.
So I think if I had to do it, there's two answers. I have two answers to this also. If I had to redo, so Tony and I are about the same age. So I was born in
120.
I was born
Add
in
it up.
69. And so if I had to do my age group again, if I knew then what I know now, it would be a lot better.
Right.
kind of.
Right.
But then I think, one of my fascinations in life is how they built the pyramids. If I could just go back in time to see how they had the technology and the
Short
wherewithal.
people got drawn.
Yeah. The wherewithal to build the pyramids. I mean, there's such an engineering feat or whatever, just to see that and have that, just to be a
What
part
are they?
of
What
that.
are they?
Just to-
Freaking 6,000 years old?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, honest.
And they're perfectly north-south and they're
Lined up.
perfectly
Yeah.
east-west. And just
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
And we
It's
bitched
crazy.
today about, I can't get enough mortar on this brick to step into
Yeah.
the house. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, Maurice, we hope we didn't bore you with our random
Yep.
thoughts, but that's just kind of how the show goes every week. And we definitely appreciate you being part of the show. And would you
The
mind,
healthy trucker.
would you mind giving us a shout out on maybe on one of your YouTube shows?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Are you saying the healthy trucker or
It's
the helpful trucker?
Helpful truck.
He's saying the helpful trucker.
I don't speak
I
good
guess
English.
it sound like healthy.
I am healthy. I am healthy.
Yeah, he's got that West Side Indianapolis accent going on.
Yeah.
is what
There
he's
you go.
got going on. So
There you go.
Yeah,
He's saying the
did
helpful.
I just hear somebody say shout out to the
Ship's Gonna Happen,
Ship's
yeah.
Gonna Happen
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah, if
on
you
the
don't-
Helpful Trucker
if-
channel? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Not a problem at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey,
And
hey,
we'll put
listen,
a
I
link-
haven't seen my hips since I was 13 years old, all right?
And we'll put a link up for you as well on our
Definitely.
shipsgonnahappen.com. And,
He's awesome. You guys got to check him out. The Helpful Trucker is that better? Did I pronounce it
Yeah.
better?
Helpful.
The Helpful Trucker, Maurice Bey, is the dude you need to check out. The dude is amazing.
Yeah.
I can talk to him from hours.
And what Maurice doesn't know, Tim's been drinking since 5:30.
No, I stopped at 5:30. I restarted at 8:30. So correction.
So Maurice, would you be willing to come on again sometime before the end of the year?
Definitely.
Yeah, and
100%.
And just so you know, David is a transportation manager at the place he works at. I'm a sales rep, and Timmy D's a sales rep. I've been doing it for 21 years, and Tim's been in the game a long time too.
19 years, and David B's been in it for about 30.
Yeah.
About 30, yeah.
Yeah.
So 33.
Got you.
So we had, glad to get you on here, David B. Thanks for the hookup with Maurice, the Helpful Trucker. You can catch him on his YouTube channel, the Helpful Trucker. He's got a lot of subscribers, a lot of detailed information on owner operator information, CDL training. A lot of subscribers, it looks like. And Maurice, man, God bless you and your family. And I wish you safe journeys out there. And thank you for all you're doing
You're
in
the
this
best,
industry.
Maurice.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, brother.
100%.
See ya.
All right, man.
Ship's going to happen out. We got to go. Maurice Bey killed it
Thank you,
today,
Maurice.
boys.
Yes, sir.
He
right.
killed
Absolutely.
it. I tell you what, I would listen to him all day.
I would.
I would love to pick his brain.
Yeah.
So, Ship's going to happen show.